Good everybody, we'll make a start with our hui. Can I ask you to open our hui?
Yes, Chair. Thank you. Atua whakatūwhare tia mai koe. Kia mātou i tēnei hui, nā huare o te tika, o te koko, o te pono, o te māramatanga, kia mātou koe. E whakamoemiti, e whakakloria, ki te mua tapu. Amen.
Good everybody. Any apologies? No apologies. Thank you. No declarations of interest. We're all interested, obviously. If we can go to our minutes. Moved by Larry.
Second those.
Seconded by Angus. Thank you. Any matters arising? Our work plan is the agenda, so there's nothing else. We'll move to the first report.
First report's the Drainwise program update. So if we can take it as read, I can respond to any questions.
Questions from members?
Are we confident we're going to get through our work program for this coming year?
It's tracking really well. The wastewater renewal, so the lining program is halfway through already.
Oh.
You will have seen them in Whatuapoko and they've started around that Stanley Road area as well. There's 2 different contracts, so tracking really well. Stormwater renewals will definitely be done and public drains on private property program again will be spent. The Wainui one, which is in the Heath Johnson Park, is all but finished, and there's then the second one is a project in Gladstone Road, just off Chalmers Road. Oh, sorry, just off Chalmers Road around Gladstone Road area, and that the tender has just been accepted, and that will start in the new year, and that will be the public drains and private property budget spent, as well as a little bit on advancing the projects for the next year as well. So all in all, tracking well. One potential project would just be the Graham Road project near Te School. We've gone through a process of just going through the design, getting it peer reviewed to make sure what we are doing there is appropriate for that, what we need. So that's taken a bit of time. We're now moving to doing the tender documentation and going through that process. The only thing about the timing on that will be it's got to be right for the school in that area. So when the school's not operating, so that may impact on just when that project is done.
So it's going to be finalised before the school holidays to do it over that school holiday period?
It's taken a while to get to the point where we're at, and it's quite a reasonable sized project, so making sure we've got it right up front was the most critical part. Then this next phase, which is actually construction, a tender process and construction of the project, is at least the uniform process. It locks it in, and it will just be informing the committee just around that time, as we know that.
Through you, do you expect, Leo, that the public drains on private properties project will take the full 5 years to see it through?
Certainly, yes. As you'll see in those, and the graphics around the scale of the project, of the investigations that are going to be held, and then subsequent projects.
Just a supplementary, do you expect that in the next half year we might close out Kaiti or not?
We are tracking well on the private property inspections. They're through 4 catchments in that area already. Maybe early in the new year I'll be able to confirm just exactly how that status is. At the moment it's tracking well and it's producing really good results. We are finding downpipes being placed into gully traps and several repairs in there. So what we're getting is good traction on improving network performance through addressing these issues.
So just on page 15, the table there, the column saying from starting time to 31st of August, is that the starting time of the financial year? Or the starting time of the project?
Starting time of the Drainwise property inspection project. And noting that previously, as we had put in the reports, we had removed the previous KIT inspections, so it's without those being in there because we're repeating that process.
Okay, so paragraph 9, it says 104 downpipes have been removed from gully traps and connected to an approved outlet. Is that actually
That's
been
the
connected
program to date. Yeah.
since the program started?
And in the recent one, I think we're sitting at 6, just in this, between the last meeting and this meeting.
When did the project kick off, Leo? Just trying to find the start date. It's a bit hard.
The property, I couldn't say off the top of my head exactly when it was, but in the early-ish 2000s, 2000 and I'll have to come back.
Yeah, just that data is a little bit meaningless without knowing the start date.
Yeah, we could put that in.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, just heard actually this morning about impending NIWA prediction for La Nina, late La Nina summer, which, does bring alarm bells. So is there any kind of project that stands out that you would think would needed to be finished before, if we were going to have some severe weather events? I'm not saying we're going to, but when NIWA then start predicting La Nina, I think there's warning bells ring everywhere.
I think the focused program for us is that wastewater reticulation renewals program, so the lining program, which says is tracking well, so it's tracking to target. Finish date target is in March. That would be a key focus one for us, regards to getting that work done. But all of our projects are subject to weather and the influences of those variables, so they'd all be impacted.
Hopefully it won't happen, but yeah.
Chair, just last question to Leo here. Page 26. What can we do to have that in the reference group?
Which paragraph? Which paragraph?
26.
Just on the page. Well, all three there's reference to the group, but we know it's not being activated yet.
So the group is formed and chairperson has been appointed. We are working on their request for refinements to the MOU, their operating document, but we have had, as per these reports, multiple meetings throughout this year and at the back end of last year. So the group is together. They are working within our wastewater net environment, and I am meeting with the chairperson this Friday to set the program for 2025, which will include covering off those issues.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Happy to move the report. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Larry. Report number 2, upgrade stage 2.
The wastewater treatment plant upgrade. If we take the report as read, I can endeavour to answer any questions you may have.
So on page 27, paragraph bullet point 3.4, there's reference to completion of the trial's been resolved in November. There's another reference to something else being resolved in November. How did we go given we're December?
Trials on the filters, the initial trials have been completed. They were completed last week. that the resulting information is with both the supplier and with the designer's Becker for review, and we're just awaiting their response back. That then forms a position with the supplier and with ourselves in regards to how they're actually performing and how that measures against their design.
That's for the tertiary filter backwash
For
pump.
the tertiary. The backwash pumps are in, so that was the part of, they had to be repaired and placed back in, so we could then run the trial on tertiary filters to gauge their performance. Key part of that, this whole process was the timing is right now to run those trials because the optimization of the upstream plant, the clarifiers, etc., are now within specification for that tertiary filter, so it enables a correct trial to inform how they're performing against their design.
So when will the trial, through you, Mr. Chair, when will the trial commence and when do you expect it to finish, and when do you expect to have some sort of sensible discussion with the manufacturers?
The trials have been completed.
It has been
Full trial.
Okay, right.
So we've got the information from the trials. They are with the supplier now for their review and feedback, and they're also with with the original designers for their feedback. So that process is in action with an intent, not to speculate a timeline, but an intent to get a positive outcome for council and resolve the issues. To summarise, wastewater flows are reasonably low at this time of the year. There's no infiltration because the water table was nice and low. So that meant that they were within specification for the tertiary filter that we trialled. The influence specifications were within target as well. So therefore it enabled to show exactly what the filters can do within those parameters. They did work, but they were at their upper limit of performance for less than half the flow that they're meant to be able to filter. So that then says that there are issues with their performance, so it gives the data through to the supplier to go, right, so what are the pathways for resolving?
So just final questions in relation to page 32, which is the project milestones, forecasted dates. That tertiary filters trial had November, and then the compliance testing also was finishing in November. That's also been discussed. Come on. All right, thank you.
Harry.
Yeah, just a clarification, and that's on page 31, the bottom of page 31, construction progress, where it says site visits and addressing of identified defect items by the Commonwealth ongoing remedial actions in progress. That's tertiary filters.
That's in general across there, so there's minor defects that we just work through with the construction contractor to resolve those before they are then considered the project being completed and from their end. So that's our ability to work through those, just address those minor issues and resolve them.
Yeah, and it's the same with the site visit from Xylem to address intermittent turbidity meter and bank issues.
Yes, they've been fantastic as a supplier, and those issues have been resolved, and the UV is working well.
Yeah.
Now everything is working well, it's just the tertiary filter that requires some.
And that sort of won't get the full compliance tick off until that's all been addressed.
We want to complete the project and get the plant performing as per design before moving to that state.
Yeah. Is there any indication of when that might be?
It'll be determined by how this process with the supplier of the tertiary filter goes. They will set out timelines. So hopefully in the next meeting we can give an update as to how that's tracking and what that looks like.
So the financial implications from the last meeting, they're not as great as
that still exists in regards to the potential solution for the tertiary filters is about $700,000. That's why we're working with that supplier to work through those the remediation of that and their part to play in that process to reduce any impact on council.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Leo, was this a planned risk that this would happen with tertiary filters at the front end? Did you expect this might occur?
for me personally, emotionally, because it joined Red's after process. I think as a whole, the designers came forward with a design that was,
Site specific.
expected to work. The parameters are set within the contracts of delivery for each of the suppliers. So I wouldn't have thought so, but it is something that has occurred, and it's something that we've had to work our way through. And as I say, the timeline to date has been about getting the plant to perform to expectation for those items pre and post the filters to enable a proper trial to illustrate what its performance is.
Supplementary, if you were to have a guess at it all being accurate, how long has this kept us out of it operating?
The tertiary filter.
Yeah, this problem, how long has it been ongoing to solution?
I think if you took the process that we've taken to date, which is working on the optimisation of the plant around it, and if the tertiary filter had also performed as expected, we would have been completing the project sometime this year, as opposed to it drifting into next year. We would have been, it has taken a substantial length of time to get to the optimisation, which gives confidence around the performance of the plant, but it would have been, we would have aimed for completion of the project in 2024, late 2024.
Not too far.
Yeah, so the tertiary filter is the last point of resolution. To move that to that.
But if that's not working, we don't get compliance.
Further questions? I think one of the questions we'll probably need is using Tony's weather Gantt chart on progress, next steps. Can we have somebody move the report? Rhonda? Any? Taking report as read number 3.
Yes, I can answer to any questions. That's for the dry weather and wet weather overflows annual report.
I've got a few questions actually. Page 51 mentions well sucked out on a regular schedule. How often is it scheduled?
Oh, then you're going to test me off the top of my head. One thing I can say,
When they say
I'd have to come back to you on
schedule, I think, oh, okay, what does regular mean?
I'd have to come to you with the specifics of that, Larry, but I can say that from a wastewater pump station program, it is very efficient and to the schedules that we do have, because we've got a very passionate person that operates that side of our network.
Twice a year or once a year?
Oh, it's more than, yeah, it's going to be 2 or 3 times a year. Those wet wells are cleaned out. Normally, I'm pretty sure it might be, 3 times a year, but I'll come back and confirm that.
What questions or anything? But on 52, page 52, I was just interested in the CBD 35.4 tonnes of unblocking of debris out of the stormwater. So what mainly is that?
General flows off the road surface into those, so accumulates in those sumps, which is what they're designed for, to capture that more solid waste. The team have worked hard to refine those schedules and make sure that there's a program in place to maintain those, proactively maintain those. Obviously there's an impact to that point from the impact of Gabriel leading into that, so it's good to reset that. But it's a substantial volume that comes out of those.
That's pretty normal. Like, when I first read that, I thought, oh, no, surely it must be the palms and the seeds of the palms, because there's so much on the footpaths all the time. And they go into the stormwater and...
I think it's a higher number from what was with the contractors than what they would have normally had due to the weather state through 23 into 24.
Yeah.
So possibly a little bit higher, but it's a regular cycle, so we can build an understanding as to what that looks like as they work through that cycle.
Thank you. And I'm just interested in the, on page 59, the E. coli at Cody Beach, and all the other ones that were high. It doesn't say when they were, it says they weren't compliant, but it doesn't say when they did become compliant.
This is for the
The
wet
overflows.
overflows. So those samples are taken during the event to identify what is going on in that wood. As they will say, it's not just the wet weather overflows that are influencing that. It's during those rain events, it's the flows coming from the rivers off the land influencing that as well, which is shown by the numbers and the other events being much lower. I will find out from the environmental team as to the next sampling on that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the only beach it mentions. It doesn't mention anything about Waikanae or Midway, and if it was coming out of the rivers, I would have thought they would have been impacted as well.
They've got specific areas that they do sample at.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Information about it.
Right, yeah.
Do you have any understanding of the source of the E. coli at Waimata, the Anzac Park?
No.
It's not.
We'd have to, again, we could talk to the environmental team to see what they...
I'm just trying to recall if it's historically been a place that's exceeded the standards. I have no sort of memory of it being a place that normally exceeded the standards. I mean, Merere and other places continually exceeded the standard, but I never heard of Anzac Park. I'm just thinking of all the rangatahi that use that space, all the water sports that are down there.
You can see, as I say, with those other events where sampling's done in similar locations, that this one was just a standout one for some reason. What that reason was, I can't advise at the moment.
Do we put a public notice down there when the levels exceed the standard?
During these events, we would have had our signs up for no, for the wet weather overflows occurring and remaining away from the rivers for the period.
Any further questions?
I suppose. Sorry. Are we satisfied that our testing of E. coli and notification of the public is on fleek as it needs to be to maintain public safety?
Through those processes, when the overflow valves are opened, so that goes out to it's publicised on social media that those events have occurred. The signs immediately go up for that extended period of not entering those waterways. The environmental team would comment if there was any issue beyond the period that we've set as a safe barrier post the event.
And is this part and parcel of the Crawthorne work as well in the future?
It will be a part that shellfish survey, which we're working through, will help inform what happens to seafood through that period that we're sampling. So it'll help, give more understanding.
I just see it kind of as the seafood being similar to rats in laboratories, but in this case it's in the water.
Yeah, I've just got that one. It's on the last page, the chart on the last page for annual overflow consents report, and there's two of the areas that are non-compliant. Comment on those, and how do we get to be compliant? I mean, it's a number. It looks to me like the examples are about timing of getting to the bottom one is the total number of complaints received in the Territory Authority about any of the following: surge odour, sewage system fault.
There's an active, and those have come back from the previous year, which were actually higher. So there's been a positive improvement there, and a focus on continuing to improve that. There is the influence on what we were working through in 23-24 with the continuous rain impacts of the volume of issues that we had there, and with the capacity of the contractors and council to respond to that. Obviously, the responses were there, just some working around timeliness to minimise the impact both on the person making the complaint and the environment.
So they were non-compliant in 2023, because this is a financial year. This is going from 23 to 24 June. This is findings from that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would, they would all be compliant now.
They're tracking well at the moment, yes, and this lovely weather that we have has helped us no end. I think the team had worked through the 22-23 period into the 23-24 period, through all of those challenges that were there for them all, and this was just a part of it, as well as to the influence of the volume of issues that had to be systematically worked through in a responsible way.
Yeah, I just wanted to, just to me, to Leo and the council for the cadetship that they've got in place. I was talking to a gentleman over the weekend and he's experiencing that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's just a positive, I guess, from a vendor's perspective, because he's getting sort of, he's a hard-working person, but just that new sort of stuff, he's enjoying it. So
It's been fantastic, and both for the team and for the person themselves, in regards to the knowledge that they're gaining and the positive ways in which they've come into that environment, and it's a wonderful thing to have, I think.
Yeah, no, honestly, he's like 50 years in the forestry now, he's doing that stuff, so he's pretty.
We have, through the program, extended that period as well, so just through the positive way that it has gone.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Just following on the mussels, where are we at with that?
We are working through it. Believe it or not, it's been an interesting challenge in finding the skills and the knowledge for our implementation program, but it's advancing well. We're meeting with someone next week in regards to that process. The team have done work around other structures and behind it, so just want to make sure it's right, so we're doing it justice, and it's ready for when it needs to be ready, and hopefully those weather patterns are completely wrong for us. So, we're working on it, but it's a substantial exercise to work through.
Kicking off in the new year?
Targets in years.
Move. Thank you, Larry. Seconder, please. Thank you, Ken. That's Leo.
That's the three.
Cool. All right. Well, no further business. I'll ask you to close out with.
Wait, take it you. Na whakamungi ki te atu, kia mau tonu ki runga ki a tātou katoa, te atawhai o te atua, te aroa o te karaiki, te whiwhi nā tonu tanga i te wairua tapu ake ake. Amen.
Amen.